Hello friends, how are you? Shall we start our class today? So let's go. The disciple walked briskly up the narrow, winding path leading to the temple on the hill. His robes flapped in the gentle breeze, but his mind was far from serene. He was on a mission to conquer wisdom itself. As he reached the temple gates, he hesitated. "This is it," he murmured to himself, adjusting his belt and taking a deep breath. A soft creak sounded as he pushed the gate open, and there, seated cross-legged in the garden, was the master. "Master," the disciple began, bowing low, "I have come to learn the secrets of Zen. My studies have prepared me well. I need only your refinement to reach perfection." The master looked up slowly, his weathered face showing no sign of surprise or judgment. "Ah, you seek knowledge," he said, his voice as calm as the pond beside him. "Sit, young one. Let us share a cup of tea." The disciple blinked, taken aback. "Tea?" he repeated. "But Master, there must be more urgent lessons than this. My time is precious." The master only smiled faintly and gestured to a simple table with 2 cups resting upon it. "A cup of tea, then we talk," he said. Reluctantly, the disciple complied, seating himself across from the master. He glanced around the garden as the older man rose and moved toward a small teapot warming on the stove. The master's movements were deliberate, almost hypnotic in their grace. Yet the disciple's impatience bubbled under the surface. "Master," the young man said, "while I appreciate the hospitality, I must insist, what can tea teach me about Zen? Surely there are texts, principles, a path." The master chuckled lightly but said nothing. He poured hot water into the teapot, the steam rising like a whisper. "Tell me," he said finally, "do you feel prepared for learning?" The disciple puffed his chest, the pride evident in his posture. "Of course. I am already learned in many ways. I've read, debated, reflected, there is little I haven't grasped. But I am here for your guidance." The master placed the teapot and cups on the table, his eyes gleaming with an unspoken wisdom. "Then let us see if that is so," he said softly. The disciple leaned forward eagerly, but the master's calm demeanor left him puzzled. What could come next? Steam curled lazily from the teapot as the master poured the tea with a slow, practiced motion. Each drop fell into the disciple's cup as if it were measured against time itself. The disciple squirmed in his seat, watching the liquid rise with growing impatience. "Master," he said, his voice edged with frustration, "this tea ceremony, while undoubtedly pleasant, feels like a distraction. Surely we should begin with the deeper teachings of Zen? I've read extensively on the subject, studied its principles. I am here for enlightenment." The master paused, his hand hovering over the teapot. His eyes were sharp yet kind as they met the disciple's. "Ah, young one, Zen is present in everything," he said simply. "Even in the pouring of tea. Is it not profound to witness water transformed, warmth shared between us?" The disciple frowned, clearly unconvinced. "I respect your traditions, but I came seeking answers," What wisdom lies in the rituals of tea? Can we not discuss concepts instead? Meditation, mindfulness, the nature of existence? Those are the lessons I seek. Chuckling softly, the master resumed his pouring. Mindfulness, you say? And yet you ignore the beauty before you. You are here, yet your thoughts race ahead. Zen cannot be captured in books nor in hurried words, it must be lived. The disciple sighed, leaning back in his chair. Perhaps I am too ambitious, he admitted grudgingly. But ambition drives the seeker forward, does it not? The master smiled again, serene and unbothered by the disciple's resistance. He set the teapot down, gesturing toward the filled cups. Drink your tea, young one. Tell me its taste, its warmth, its essence. Hesitant but unwilling to seem disrespectful, the disciple took the cup and sipped. The liquid was fragrant, soothing in its simplicity. He nodded slightly. It is calming, he offered. But this is hardly the enlightenment I imagined. The master nodded in agreement, then took his own cup. Enlightenment is not a spectacle or a flash of brilliance. It is the quiet appreciation of life's smallest moments, the sip of tea, the rustle of leaves, the stillness of morning. Despite the master's words, the disciple remained unconvinced. He placed the cup down more forcefully than intended. I apologize, master, but I cannot see how this connects to Zen's deeper truths. Time is slipping away while I sit here sipping tea. The master regarded him for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Patience, young one, he said finally. The path to wisdom begins in stillness, not urgency. Continue to observe. The disciple fell silent, watching as the master leaned back, his posture unshaken, as though he had known this conversation would unfold precisely as it had. The disciple had much to learn, but for now his thoughts churned and his impatience lingered. He felt ready to move on, unaware of what awaited him in the next moments. The master placed the teapot back on the table, his movements deliberate and serene, as if the weight of centuries rested within them. The disciple, still brimming with restless energy, leaned forward in anticipation of what might finally be revealed. Now, the master said, his tone lighter than the air around them, let me refill your cup. The disciple straightened, eyeing his already filled cup with mild curiosity. But, master, the cup is full. There's no need to pour more. The master merely smiled and tilted the teapot. The tea trickled down, finding its way into the brim of the disciple's cup, pooling at the edge until it began to spill over. At first, the disciple watched in silence, unsure of whether to interrupt. But as the tea overflowed onto the table, dripping onto his robes and onto the ground, he shot up from his seat. "Master!" he exclaimed, alarm evident in his voice. "The tea is spilling everywhere. Stop, or the whole pot will be wasted." Still pouring, the master met his gaze, the faintest glimmer of amusement in his eyes. "Is it spilling everywhere? Is the pot wasted?" he asked, his tone unhurried. The disciple gestured at the puddle forming on the table. Yes, of course it is. The cup can't hold any more and now it's overflowing. Surely you can see that. The master lowered the teapot and set it down gently, its warm surface steaming against the cool table. Indeed, the cup can hold no more. It is full, he said simply. Tell me, young one, why did the tea overflow? The disciple blinked, baffled by the question. Because you poured too much, master. The cup was already full. The master nodded slowly, folding his hands in his lap. And so it is with the mind. When the mind is already full, brimming with opinions, assumptions, and certainties, it cannot hold anything new. How can I teach you Zen when your mind is overflowing? The realization hit the disciple like a thunderclap. He stared at the teacup, the spilled tea, and then at the master, his pride crumbling as understanding dawned. You mean? I came here thinking I knew so much, but it was too much? That I need to empty my mind? The master's lips curved into a gentle smile. To learn, one must first make room for knowledge. One must approach wisdom with humility, as though the cup were empty and ready to be filled. The disciple lowered himself back into his chair, humbled and thoughtful. I see now, master. My impatience, my confidence, it blinded me to the lessons you were offering, even here in this simple act of pouring tea. The master nodded. Wisdom does not reside in knowing everything. It resides in the willingness to see, to listen, to understand. Now, drink from your cup and let us begin anew. Humbled and silent, the disciple lifted his cup to his lips, sipping the tea with a newfound reverence. The taste seemed different now, fuller, richer, perhaps because his mind was finally open to receiving it. The garden felt different now. The gentle rustling of leaves, the soft chirping of birds, it all seemed imbued with a newfound clarity. The disciple sat quietly, his hands clasped around the teacup as if it were a precious relic. His mind, once overflowing with self-assured thoughts, now seemed quieter, more open. The master sipped his own tea slowly, giving the disciple time to reflect. Then he spoke. Young one, do you see now why I began with the tea? The disciple nodded, his gaze lowered in humility. I understand, master. My mind was like this cup, full and spilling over with pride and assumptions. I came here thinking I knew so much, but in truth, I knew very little. The master's smile was warm and encouraging. It is not wrong to seek knowledge, but to truly learn, you must first admit what you do not know. Wisdom begins with humility. The disciple lifted his eyes, meeting the master's calm gaze. I was arrogant, he admitted. I thought I was ready for enlightenment, but my own certainty blinded me to the lessons around me, even in something as simple as pouring tea. The master placed his cup down and leaned forward slightly. Arrogance is the greatest obstacle to learning. It builds walls where there should be doors. But humility, the willingness to empty your cup, creates space for growth. It transforms obstacles into pathways. For a moment, the disciple said nothing. He studied the puddle of tea still lingering on the table, its edges curling around the wood. It felt symbolic, a reminder of the excess he had carried within himself. He took another sip, this time savoring the warmth and simplicity of the act. "I am ready now," he said softly, his voice devoid of the impatience that had marked their earlier conversation. "Ready to empty my cup, to listen, to learn. Please, Master, guide me." The Master chuckled lightly, his eyes twinkling. "Ah, young one, you have already begun. The act of realizing your need for humility is itself a step toward wisdom. From here, the path will unfold naturally." The disciple smiled faintly, his heart lighter than it had been in days. "Then I will follow your guidance, Master, and approach every lesson with an open mind. No longer will I come seeking confirmation of what I already believe." The Master rose from his chair, his movements as fluid as they had been during the tea ritual. "Come," he said, gesturing toward the temple. "The first step is to let go of seeking. The journey of Zen is not about arriving, it is about being." As they walked together toward the temple doors, the disciple felt a quiet joy blooming within him. The simple yet profound lesson of the overflowing cup had shifted his perspective entirely. He was no longer fixated on answers or achievements. Instead, he embraced the beauty of the journey itself. The garden behind them seemed to hum with life, as though nature itself was celebrating this moment of clarity. And as the temple doors creaked open, the disciple stepped inside, ready to begin anew. It's great to see you here. Tell me in the comments what you thought of the story and what level of difficulty it was for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss new stories, and like if you liked it. I'll see you next time. Bye.